Life will test you, people will challenge you, chaos will surround you, but in the midst of it all, your greatest power is your ability to remain calm. The Stoics believed that true strength comes not from reacting, but from mastering your mind. You cannot control the world, but you can control how you respond to it. Anger, fear, and frustration are distractions. Stay above them. A calm mind sees clearly, decides wisely, and moves forward with purpose. Today I will show you how to train your mind to stay calm in any situation, no matter what life throws your way. Your mind is the filter through which you experience the world. Two people can face the same situation. One panics, the other remains calm. Why? Because it is not the event itself that causes distress, but how the mind interprets it. The Stoics taught that external circumstances hold no real power over you. It is your perception that gives them meaning. If you train your mind to see challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles, you shift your response from fear to control. When something unexpected happens, most people react impulsively, allowing emotions to dictate their actions. A calm mind, however, steps back and questions, is this truly a disaster? Or am I just perceiving it as one? This small pause is where power lies. By reframing your thoughts, you strip away unnecessary suffering and focus only on what is real. Imagine receiving harsh criticism. The untrained mind sees an attack, triggering anger or self-doubt. A trained mind, however, separates fact from opinion and uses the feedback as a tool for growth. In another scenario, consider being stuck in traffic. The situation is outside your control, yet frustration rises because the mind resists reality. Instead of feeding irritation, the trained mind acknowledges the delay and redirects its focus to something productive, like deep breathing or listening to an audiobook. This practice is not about ignoring reality, but seeing it clearly. When emotions cloud judgment, small problems feel like catastrophes. But when you master perception, you stop being a prisoner to external events. You become the one in control. Emotions are natural, but they should not control your actions. Most people react instantly to situations, allowing anger, fear, or frustration to dictate their decisions. The Stoics understood that reacting emotionally often leads to regret, poor choices, and unnecessary suffering. Instead of letting emotions take over, they practiced detachment, observing their feelings without being ruled by them. Imagine someone insults you. The untrained mind reacts immediately. Anger rises, words are exchanged, and the situation escalates. But if you detach, you recognize the insult for what it is. Just words, empty unless you give them power. By refusing to engage emotionally, you maintain control. This does not mean suppressing emotions, it means acknowledging them without letting them dictate your response. A practical way to develop this habit is through the pause. Before responding to a difficult situation, take a deep breath and step back mentally. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Will my reaction improve the situation? More often than not, staying calm will serve you better than reacting impulsively. Another method is to view situations as an outsider. Imagine giving advice to a friend in the same position. Would you tell them to explode in anger or to remain composed? This shift in perspective helps you respond with wisdom rather than emotion. Detachment also applies to positive emotions. Becoming too attached to praise or success can make you dependent on external validation. The goal is balance. Neither swayed by criticism nor intoxicated by approval. True strength comes from within, not from external circumstances. When you learn to observe emotions without being controlled by them, you gain the power to navigate any situation with clarity, and most people resist the present moment, wishing things were different. This resistance creates frustration, stress, and anxiety. The Stoics believed that true peace comes from fully accepting what is, rather than wasting energy on what should be. Life unfolds as it does, regardless of your preferences. When you embrace the moment, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering and focus on what you can actually control. When adversity strikes, the untrained mind fights reality. It complains, resists, or blames others. But none of that changes the situation. A trained mind, however, immediately accepts what is and shifts its focus to action. Imagine missing an important opportunity. You could dwell on regret, replaying the loss in your mind, or you could accept it as part of life and look for the next path forward. The choice determines whether you stay stuck or move ahead. This practice applies to small moments as well. If it's raining, instead of complaining, accept it. If someone speaks rudely to you, instead of reacting emotionally, recognize that their words reflect them, not you. By accepting reality as it comes, you avoid unnecessary stress and stay focused on what truly matters. A powerful Stoic exercise is to remind yourself daily, this moment is all I have. The past is gone and the future is uncertain. Clinging to what was or fearing what could be only steals your peace. Instead, anchor yourself in the now. Whether the moment is difficult or joyful, embrace it fully. This does not mean passive acceptance of injustice or failure. It means directing your energy toward what you can influence, rather than wishing reality were different. When you master this mindset, you navigate life with greater calm, resilience, and purpose. Comfort makes the mind weak. The Stoics believed that by exposing yourself to discomfort voluntarily, you build resilience before hardship arrives. Life is unpredictable. Challenges, failures, and losses will come. If you have never trained your mind to handle discomfort, you will crumble when real adversity strikes. But if you have already endured hardship by choice, you become unshakable. One way to practice this is through physical discomfort. Take cold showers, walk instead of driving, or fast for a day. These simple acts remind you that you can endure more than you think. When life unexpectedly takes something from you, you won't panic because you have already trained yourself to go without. Mental discomfort is just as important. Face difficult conversations instead of avoiding them. Sit in silence with your thoughts rather than seeking constant distraction. Train yourself to endure boredom, uncertainty, and rejection without reacting emotionally. When you no longer fear discomfort, it loses its power over you. Another Stoic exercise is practicing loss in your mind. Imagine life without the things you take for granted, your job, your possessions, even your loved ones. This is not to make you sad, but to prepare your mind for the reality that nothing is permanent. By mentally rehearsing loss, you lessen its sting when it happens in reality. Voluntary discomfort is not about suffering for no reason. It is about strengthening your mind so that when life throws challenges at you, they feel smaller. Instead of seeing adversity as something to fear, you recognize it as a test you have already trained for. The more you expose yourself to hardship by choice, the more unbreakable you become when life forces it upon you. Uncertainty is a part of life. People fear the unknown, worrying about what might go wrong. The Stoics had a powerful technique to counter this fear: negative visualization. Instead of avoiding thoughts of failure, loss, or hardship, they intentionally imagined worst-case scenarios. This practice does not invite misfortune, it prepares the mind for it. By confronting difficulties before they happen, you reduce their emotional impact and increase your ability to handle them with calmness. Consider a situation where you fear losing your job. Instead of dwelling on anxiety, deliberately visualize it happening. What would you do next? How would you survive? You realize that even in the worst-case scenario, you would find a way forward. This exercise removes fear's power because it forces you to see that most situations, no matter how bad, are survivable. This practice also makes you more grateful. When you imagine life without your home, your health, or your loved ones, you begin to appreciate them more deeply. Gratitude grows when you acknowledge that nothing is guaranteed. Instead of taking things for granted, you cherish them while they are here. Negative visualization is not about living in constant fear, but about mentally preparing for life's unpredictability. If you expect everything to go smoothly, you will be crushed when difficulties arise. But if you have already visualized setbacks, you will face them with steadiness and strength. This method does not make you pessimistic, it makes you resilient. You are no longer controlled by fear because you have already confronted it in your mind. When real challenges come, they will not shock you. You will be ready, composed, and unshaken. Do not tie your happiness to external outcomes. The Stoics taught that suffering comes from attachment, whether to success, possessions, or even people. You must train your mind to remain steady, regardless of what you gain or lose. When things go well, do not become overly dependent on them. When things go wrong, do not let them destroy your peace. Accept life's highs and lows with the same calmness. True freedom comes when you realize that nothing outside of you can truly control your inner state. A detached mind is an unshakable mind.